Do you want to know the 5 biggest mistakes that homebuyers make? Well, stay tuned because this video is all about that. I'm Christian Harris, the founder of the C-Town Real Estate team here in Seattle. I started this channel to help you get a flavor of what Seattle has to offer and to give you some real estate insights so you can live your best life in Seattle. Give me a call or text with any questions. I love helping people like you discover where they want to live in Seattle. So let's get into this. So the 5 biggest mistakes that homebuyers make. The first big mistake that people make, and it's pretty common, is you start looking at houses online or even contact your real estate agent or find one and go look at houses without getting pre-approved. The reason this is so important is because you need to find out 2 things from a mortgage lender. One, how much house you qualify for, so what that maximum purchase price is, and 2, what that monthly payment would look like. Because a lot of times, especially in areas like Seattle, people make a fair amount of money, they have good credit, they can get pre-approved for way more than they are willing to spend every month. I always recommend my clients do this first, talk to a mortgage lender before we start looking at houses, because 1, you can't make an offer without a pre-approval, and 2, it's really disappointing when you start looking at houses and then once you talk to a lender, you realize the houses you're looking at are more expensive than you can afford, or that monthly payment for that kind of house would be more than you're willing to spend. So then you got to start looking at houses that maybe don't show as well as the houses you have been looking at. So first things first, talk to a mortgage lender before you start looking at houses online, and especially before you start looking in person, to ensure you're looking at the right price point and you're not going to be disappointed later. The second biggest mistake that homebuyers make is they wait. They wait for interest rates to go down, they wait for the housing market to crash or for prices to go down. Most of the time that doesn't happen. And really what they do when they wait is they miss out on opportunities because prices keep going up and interest rates keep going up. Even if they don't keep going up and they go down, you can always refinance, if you buy a house with a higher interest rate. So really all you're doing when you wait to buy a house is you're missing out on opportunity when you could be building equity. And you continue to rent instead of letting your money go towards building equity and building wealth. And a big part of this equation is as interest rates go up, your purchasing power goes down. So buyers tend to look at that purchase price instead of what their payment's going to be, because often they'll have a maximum payment, but as interest rates go up, that price you can afford goes down, even though your monthly payment stays the same. Now with where we are right now, which is November of 2022, the market is shifting. We're seeing things cool down. Now we're not seeing house prices come down, which is what a lot of people were anticipating, but we are seeing list prices come down as sellers are getting a little dose of what the new reality. As of right now, we're not seeing home values going down. We're seeing them kind of level off, but we are seeing list prices come down as houses are sitting on the market longer because there's less buyers looking because interest rates have gone up. So that's definitely softened the market and shifting it from a strong seller's market to still a seller's market, but a much softer one. Eventually it'll probably shift into a buyer's market at some point. But even then, you probably still don't want to wait because that doesn't necessarily mean that the price is going to go down just because it shifts from a seller's market to a buyer's market. Another big mistake that buyers make, they think they need 20% down before they can buy a house. So you're saving up for years and years and years, and as you save up that money for that down payment, house prices are increasing faster than you can save that money. So you're actually going to spend more money in the long run because you waited, whether that's waiting because you're waiting for the prices to come down or interest rates to come down or to save up that 20%. Now it's nice to save up 20% because with a conventional loan, if you have 20% down, you don't have to pay primary mortgage insurance or PMI. But nowadays there's loan products for as low as 3.5% down. And if you're a veteran and you have a VA loan eligibility, you can actually do 0% down, which is great. Now where this misconception that you need 20% down comes from, I'm not exactly sure, but my guess is that it comes from maybe the kids listening to their parents, and when they bought, 20% down was very standard, but the house prices were also substantially lower, so saving 20% was not nearly as big a feat as these days. But really that plays into what's a common issue, which is everyone's an expert. You're always listening to someone, friend, parent, random stranger on the road. Everyone's willing to give you their advice, and they make it sound like it's the gospel truth. I've heard some crazy stuff from clients and parents of my buyers who's walking through houses. Most of it not true, or it's from their experiences from when they bought a house 10 or 20 years ago, so it's largely out of date because the house buying process has changed so much and the market they bought in is not the market we have now. I hear self-proclaimed experts saying crazy things like, oh, look at that discoloration in the concrete. That means the foundation's bad. Don't buy this house. See that crack in the drywall there? That means this house is about to fall down. Run away. My aunt's friend's neighbor's dog's best friend told them that you need to look at least 50 houses before you make a decision. Don't rush into this. All those are examples of bad advice. Don't listen to self-proclaimed experts. Talk to an actual real estate agent, talk to an actual lender, and get the real scoop, get the real information. Before I get to the next point, if this video has been helpful, go ahead and leave a comment below and hit that thumbs up button. And of course, give me a call or text when you're ready to start your home buying journey. And on to point 4 of mistakes that home buyers make. They don't bother to eliminate their debt. So a big factor in getting mortgage approval is your debt to income ratio. So that's looking at how much debt you have compared to what your income is. And if that ratio is too high, you're not going to be able to get a mortgage. I think right now it's around 43 or 45%, somewhere in there. But I'm not a mortgage lender, so I don't know for sure. But I work with a lot of great ones and can always give you a great recommendation. So this is why it's so important not to have excessive debt when you're looking to buy a house. And why it's also critical to not celebrate getting under contract to buy a house by going out and buying a new car. I've actually heard from some of my realtor friends examples where that's what they did. They went out and they bought a car, and now all of a sudden their debt to income ratio is way high because they've got a $30,000 car payment when they didn't when they got pre-approved, and now they lost their house because their pre-approval from their mortgage lender is no longer good because their debt to income ratio just shot up, and then they lost the house. So that's pretty disappointing. Got a new car, didn't get the house. And the final mistake that home buyers make is that they hold out for that perfect house. They're waiting for the one. They're looking for the unicorn. They're waiting for things to be just right, for the stars to align, and for the heavens to open up and tell them this is the one they need to buy. Doesn't always happen. Along similar lines, sometimes the first house you look at is the one. Especially in a tight and competitive seller's market where there's just not much inventory, buyers are going to have a lot less options on houses, and sometimes the first one is the one they fall in love with, but sometimes they're hesitant because their parent or someone said, don't make a hasty decision, sleep on it, wait. I've seen when the market was more competitive, buyers lose out on that because another buyer comes in, makes an offer, they lose out, and then as they continue to look at houses, they're always comparing the houses they're looking at the first one they lost, and they're really disappointed. So if the first house you see is the one you absolutely love, don't wait, make a decision, go for it. Or something else I also see sometimes is buyers have unrealistic expectations. So they've got a certain budget, but within that budget they want to hit every single checkbox they have, down to the smallest aesthetic detail of the house. Now if you have unlimited resources, great, be picky, be detail oriented, but a lot of times you just have to make a priority list of the things that are most important to you about your house, especially if you're talking about buying your first house. It doesn't have to be the perfect forever house, but if it checks most of those boxes, sometimes it's good enough. Remember, you can always customize it to your tastes and desires. You don't have to leave the house the way it is. If you have any questions about this video or your specific situation, my contact info is in the description below. Hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you on the next one.